Welcome to the Women Who Change the World podcast, the place where everyday women world changers share their stories to inspire, challenge, and equip you to change your world. And here we have part 2 of this wonderful interview. It had so many amazing things that to cut any out would be sad. And with that, we are back. Since this is an international podcast, and I've had people from all over the world on it and listening to it, the concept that we're all the same. There's a little bitty cultural things, that separate us, maybe language that separate us, but the person, deep down inside, the person you're talking to is the same as you. We all face the same trials. I mean, we're all women here. We all have the lovely things that happen to us women. And it doesn't matter where you live in the world. It's what happens. It's part of who we are. We have all kinds of crazy things, but it doesn't matter where you are. You're still a woman. And you are still a person of value. And that value can be shaped by using your God-given talents to make the world a better place. I think we can all agree, ladies, the world is kind of crazy. And I don't know about you, but I'm tired of the crazy. And so we have to use our God-given talents to make the world a better place. You may not have a degree to do exactly what you think what you're doing, but you have done one thing. And that one thing is say yes. And I want to talk about that for just a little bit, about how you've said yes to God for this, to impact people, to add value to people, to make a difference in people's lives, whether it is your trip that you've done or any other table that you've led or been a part of, or you in your business. How has saying yes to God, of adding value to others, shaped you? I made them quiet. This is very unusual. They're all looking at me and smiling like, I don't want to go first. Somebody else go first.
I want to jump in because that's a sign of a great coach right there. We don't break the silence, right? Because that work you need to do comes from within. And I just wrote down, and I believe it. Like, there is something that you can do. A lot of times we focus on that one no or what we can't do. And if you have an ability, you have a responsibility. An ability is, your talent and your strengths and your gifts. And I came into it. I went in November, and of course, here a few weeks ago. And I was struggling. I have physical limitations. So I'm like, Dawn, just keep showing up. There is something that you can do. And I've been hosting transformation tables through changeyourworld.com since March of 2021, since like a month or so after they started. And I was looking forward to doing a transformation trip since 2018, missed my chance in 19, COVID happened in 2020. So, and then at the same time, I was facing facing a challenge with my health. So I was like, you got to show up and do the best that you can do, run your own race, because we know it goes to those who endure. So if you're listening to this, just stay encouraged and just focus on what you can do.
I think that your yes comes from being tired of being tired. I think your heart speaks to you, and when you're just doing things over and over and over, and you get to, in my case, and I can only speak in my case, I was tired, broken and broke, and my resource was to go to my Lord. Please help me and guide me, right? And once I asked, would please help me and guide me, I landed with an amazing team, the John Maxwell team. And when I landed with the John Maxwell team, I actually landed because I just wanted it to be a speaker for the industry that I am in, right? Things that we create in our mind. And not knowing that this was just the beginning for a bigger picture. that I wasn't aware of because of my limited belief. When the first transformation trip was announced back in 2021 was to the Dominican Republic. And again, I really didn't think of the impact. I just thought back home, I say yes, right? And just having that feeling of saying yes back home, it taught me so much. When I returned back home in November, I was just so hungry to know more because I was able to knock down a lot of walls that they were only in my head. And because I say yes to go and add value, I was able to see the capacity Maribel has to be able to help many other people. So one thing took me to the other, and then that's where my yes came in from. It came from being broken and broke and looking for help. And again, once you're in that point, you will be redirected, and then you will have clarity like I'm going through, which is my calling.
I love to serve. I think I received a lot. So when I was a teenager, I had a very rough, debilitating disease growing up, and I couldn't even walk for about a good 10 years. And in that period, I got to see a lot of good, from people that would do things for our family, that would pray. And I always said, like, I wanted to do that. They didn't know exactly what I wanted because I hadn't really had a chance to look at the web, but I just wanted to do that. If I could just give back what people had done for me that didn't even know me. I mean, from even staff, volunteers, people in the community that helped me. So I think it was, for me, this was an easy yes, because that's what my heart wanted to say in a way, but it still has all its challenges. I mean, everything else. But in light of doing all you can do, and God will do all that you cannot do, and really answering to that call, you start seeing that and stepping out in faith. He does provide the resources, the finances, the ability. He qualifies the call. He doesn't call the qualified. And in that is like, hey, I want to learn more. Therefore, by service, I can do that. And really that's been a progression for me. How can I serve and complete what he's called us to do, right? Go ye into all the world. And don't just say it, be about it. And whatever it is that is in my ability to do, whatever it is, however I can help right now, are you willing to go? I prayed about it. Like, can send me, like, okay, here's a chance. Like, I don't have the time or the finances or the thing. It's like, okay, well, who are you going to believe? And it's really, an opportunity to really see him at work in my life, and then seeing him impact other lives through the work done together with others too in service. It's been amazing. It still is amazing every day.
Yeah. I came into Maxwell Leadership at the other end of life, you could kind of say. I had just retired as a public school teacher, and I did retire early. That turned out to be a personally significant timeline, because I set the date 5 years before I retired. But the day that I worked, my last day, was the day that my mother joined my father in a nursing home. And I wound up caregiver to 2 parents who were incapacitated. But in the midst, I knew before that day that I was retiring to just put myself at God's disposal for whatever he wanted to do with me for the rest of my life. And so I thought maybe that was it. But then that next January, the announcement came out. Minute with Maxwell, special announcement, John Maxwell team. And in that very first call, John spoke of having something to do that was bigger than anything he had ever done before. And he would need a team to get it done. And that was my yes. I had used him as a pastor with a small town, lower income congregation, and saw leadership come out of people that had never heard the word before. And so when he said he was starting this team, it just kind of made sense to me that I could give back to his vision in gratitude for what he had given to mine. And so now, what is this? This is 2022. So 12 years later, in my retirement, really probably just getting to the age where I should be retiring, or a couple of years ago, realizing that being a part of something that I could not have put together, it's not my gift set, it's not my calling, it's not my influence level, but just to play a part in something that is mind-bogglingly great, both from the human level and the spiritual level. I love how we don't start out with, we're going to give you Jesus. And I love that only because we're going to people for whom, in many cases, the church has been a large part of their problem. So we can't start with that. But within weeks, people are aware that this is a move of God. And we're seeing thousands of people give their lives to Jesus Christ because they realize that the power for this kind of transformation is a supernatural power that only he holds. So it's saying yes. I've been saying yes to God all my life, and never once did I understand what I was saying yes to. And every time it has exceeded anything that I ever could expect, and this is certainly no exception.
Sending you a hug from an hour away. Denise lives about an hour away from me. Hour distance away hug. When you've talked about saying yes. You've talked about how it affected you. I would like for each of you to tell a story. You can leave out names or anything you feel like you need to leave out of someone has shared about how, like, the boy that you talked about, how he kept talking to you guys and following you around and was there at the hotel when you showed up. Did someone share a story with you or an experience that you had that you can share with the audience? Because the people who listen to this podcast are women who were just like us, who they just keep saying, I'm just a mom. I have nothing to offer. I have nothing special. I am nobody special. And we get stuck in that pattern. I know I have said for a long, long time that I'm just a mom, and thankfully other people who are here on the call are far enough away they can't reach through the screen and strangle me, Dawn and Maribel. Don't strangle me through the call of being just a mom. But these stories impact. Is there something that you can share? Because people need to hear that you're not different from other people, that these people that you talk to, whether it's on any of the trips you've been on, Denise, or any of the experience you've done with transformation tables. Leave out the important bits of of names and things like that, but just a story that you can share of how it's impacted somebody's life. I will tell you, when I did my first table with my family, I scored really, really low with hope. Really, really low with hope. And I was kind of freaking out. My husband said, something's got to be low, Samantha. Not everything can be high. So hope was my bottom score. And then I did a table with a group of ladies, and they scored really, really high on hope. And after doing that table with them, even though I was the facilitator, my hope jumped up. Other things went down, and it's like, no, nothing can go below this number. But it changed me because of their hope. And when I would say things that sounded hopeless, they would help me flip that to become more hopeful. So I could step into hope a little bit more, because hope is the foundation, which is why I believe it's first of all the others. If you don't have hope, the rest of them aren't going to exist. So do you have stories you can share?
Well, for me, it changed. This last trip changed me in a couple of ways. As I mentioned earlier, I struggled with a very debilitating disease, very traumatic for over 10 years. And through that, I had to have a lot of courts, a lot of, let's just say that by the time I was 16, I didn't feel very human. And it was a big deal for me to have like that, even understanding that touch with humanity. And I remember even saying when I was 23, like, I am human, it actually resonated with me, the whole, just the emotions, the relations, the getting my humanity back, not just as a research person. There was a lot of research done on me in order to find a cure for the disease that I had. And this time when I went out, I actually got to go to the Red Cross. And it was like, oh, how cool. I wasn't planning on that. And it was like the medical, and we were at the crisis management office. So these are all the people that deal with the crisis, and the director and everybody that deal with the critical care for that. So, I mean, I don't even know what they said. We went through the whole thing, and it was, they were sharing at the end. And the director stood up and he said, I didn't expect what happened to happen, what I've seen. And he said, we're an organization that is known for its humanitarian services. And today, she's helped us to put the human in our humanitarian. So, I mean, right there, I just felt like, not just because of the service that we provide, but because of my past, of me just coming to an own understanding of what humanity is, but to do this for an organization that takes care of human beings at a critical point, and to have them all connect. It says, and he called them all and said, I want you all to do these tables, because we can't expect to help the human beings at their most vulnerable stages in their lives if we ourselves don't get in touch with our humanity too. And it was, to me, I was just like, that's it. Kind of like, there was so many feelings and emotions, because I knew what this was going to mean for the people that we're going to serve, because I personally knew what it was like for me to be able to do that, to have a tool that can be a process that can help people with that. And for me to be a part of it, I could not have even planned for that. And that was just, I'm very thankful for the opportunity to do that.
I have something to say, and this is like kind of more personal story combined with the story that happened in the Dominican Republic. And it's just thinking about it, the values we were going to facilitate was positive attitude. And then they were going to facilitate hope, right? And usually hope starts with the quote that hope has two daughters, right? Anger and courage. And then attitude, it has a couple of lessons in attitude. One that connects with me a lot, it's the attitudes of choice. So at the beginning of my year was, it was very challenging, right? With everything I'm going through, I chose to be positive about everything, but I also chose to be courage and confront what I'm going through and be able to give what I'm supposed to give to this world. So because of all the challenges I have, I could have easily say, you know, that's it. I'm going to put my dream. I'm not going to fight for it no more. I'm just going to give up, because eventually the dream is going to be challenged and it is going to be tested. But it's up to you how you want to stand up while you're being tested. So when the person who was bringing us back to the hotel, when she was driving, she was like, Maribel, I just wanted to let you know how much you encourage me to do more. Because of the action that you show us, you're giving us the ability, I'm here and I could do more. And that spoke to me so much, just because I made a positive choice, and I made that choice to be willing to give and be willing to be there and be willing to for my calling, instead of choosing all the obstacles I'm having in the way, because there's a lot of them. I mean, I work overnight, and sometimes it's horrible fights, but I know that I'm learning something in my process, and that learning is going to be able to help me to show it to the world, to help the world that it's going to be better, and it's going to be a lot better. So with me going through the process and just hear that one person said, thank you for encouraging me to do more, that was like everything. That was everything to me, and keep on pushing and not giving up, even though sometimes my storm looks very challenging. But every day I'm fighting my fight, and I'm fighting my fight with very grateful and very optimistic of what I'm seeing and the things that I want to pursue and be able to give. So that was a personal story that touched me a lot, being able to give, even though in the process I'm going through.
I'll jump in. To those that are listeners, I just want to let you know that you are seen, you matter, and you are not invisible. And I say that because a coach actually came up to me. She said, she came up to me. She said, Dawn, you came up to me on one of the first days, and no one comes up to me. No one, makes the first initiative. I just felt like, oh my goodness, she was one of the first people that I wanted to meet, and there's 40,000 coaches within our coaching network, and there was 50 or 55 on this trip. So when we had training prior on Zoom, I was looking at everybody that was on camera and writing down their names. So when I see them for the first time, I say, good to see you, Denise, right? Because that's the way our Papa John and Chris Robinson, that's what they model for us. And I walked into a room last year during our Maxwell coaching conference. And that's what, and that's what I felt, oh my God, Chris Robinson knows my name, and just how she said that, I was like, oh my goodness, it's just a reminder that love and serve and give, and the person in front of you, you can give value and add value to them, just like they can add value to you. And then she also left me with another powerful note, and it was like, we had a conversation, we spoke, and the other coach said, whose story are you telling? Whose story are you telling? Because it's time to tell your own. So listeners, you have a story and you matter, and there's, again, something that you're capable of doing. You have talent, skills, and gifts, and it's the Women Who Change the World podcast, international.
Cool. For me, I think the story I want to share, to tell, is that I've worked with translators that were as young as, I think, 17. I worked with a translator who was 70-ish. And the only thing remarkable about me is this remarkable team of which I am a part. And so when we come to these tables, something that is so earth-changing, and someone may be listening to me thinking, well, I could never do that. let me tell you the secret. We read scripts. It's all written out for us. And all we have to do is answer questions from a personal point of view. Your story is never the wrong answer because it's your story. No one can deny what you have lived. No one can make light of what you have felt. No one can ridicule your errors and your missteps because they make you you. And so if there's any way, any part of you that says, I want to do something and I don't think I can, let me suggest, encourage, jump into the concept of change your world. Sign up at changeyourworld.com, join a table, and see how basic and simple life change has been made. And then from there, you can start your own tables. And you can see in the lives of people that you care about that you can be the catalyst to make the difference, because you don't have to know what to say. You just have to be willing to say it. And I've just seen it across the age spectrum, the language spectrum. This is an amazing opportunity.
I joined the Maxwell Leadership Team when we were still J&T, the week before the August IMC of 2020. Didn't do it. So I got my certification in March of 2021. And right after that, Roddy Galbraith, who is our speaker mentor, held a coaching session and I met Dawn. For the first time in my life, I had somebody who was interested in wanting to talk to me. She was messaging me more than I messaged her. And I'm like, why are you doing this? This is crazy. Why would somebody want to talk to me? And so a mindset shift started happening there. Did the virtual in August, went live in March. Dawn's like, oh, I've got a roommate for her. She's going to be great. And I'm like, okay, if you like her, she'll be fine. My daughter and I drive all the way down to Orlando from Louisville, Kentucky. We arrive there, and I'm talking to the person trying to sign in, and somebody says, Samantha. And I'm like, who knows me here but Dawn? And it's Maribel, who became our roommate. And she and I had lots of long talks, lots about curly hair and all kinds of other things, long talks. But we get there, we're walking down. My husband measured it from our hotel room to where the conference was a half a mile, people. It was a half a mile walk each way. So we walk down there and there's these escalators that are coming down and this woman standing there giving out hugs. And Maribel's like, oh, Denise, gives her a hug. She's like, do you want a hug? Now, my daughter, who's 22, was with me. She's looking at me like, Mom, do we give this lady a hug or not? And I'm like, I'm going to take a hug. Hey, COVID said no hugs. I'm going to take a hug. And it wasn't this light pat on the back. It was a warm hug. I felt that I was wanted there. So I'm just like, hey, if Mom gets a hug, I want a hug. Well, we get to the second day where everybody is supposed to be giving. There's the talks that happen where your certification happens. But before then, people get up on stage and they're doing their talk. Now, I was with 2 PAC members and 4 people who were just doing their certification. 2 young couples who were just having kids, asking me parenting advice. I have 7. I have 7 children, ages 24 down to 5. So we were having this conversation. And then I hear this voice. Now I have a thing for accents. When somebody is speaking the English language and they have their accent, it's like, okay, you've got my attention. So Hannah's up there talking and she's telling her story and somebody's trying to talk to me like, shh. I'm waving my hand at people like, shh, shh, shh. And then I do the mom thing of, just 1 minute. Now she only gets, you get 3 minutes up there. 3 minutes, she's done. And they're like, she's done. I'm like, I had to pause to process what she said, because not only what she said, but how she said it moved me. Now, the thing that you can't see is the diversity that's on my screen right now. There is a diverse group of women here. We all come from different walks of life. We all have different things going on in our life. But each and every one of us are here because we want to make a difference in the world. These 4 women said, yes, hey, I'll come on your podcast. 3 of them have already experienced it. Hanna has not. But they know that my heart truly is sharing this value. These 4 women are making a huge difference because they did the one thing that you're afraid to do. They said yes. They said yes. They pick up their business. I'm going on a trip. I'm taking my business with me. Sorry, boss, can't come in. I've got to go do this. Even though I've got disabilities, I'm still going on this trip. It may be hard, but I'm going to do it. I'm in retirement, but you know what? I'm not dead yet. I'm going to make an impact until everything in me is gone. They said, yes, you've heard their stories. You've heard how the trip made a difference for them. And this is not just an American thing. I promise you it's not. Denise, aren't we going to Asia sometime in the next year or so?
Papua New Guinea.
Okay. So
And the coaches that come are usually from every continent of the globe. Only the recent COVID restrictions have limited our participation, but we come from around the world to go around the world.
That's it. That's where we are. These are women who are just like you, who are living life, who are sometimes pulling their hair out of their head, who are, I can't change the whole world, but as John said at the IMC, I can do for one what I can't do for many. Talk to the people in front of you. Do a transformation table. In the description, you will find their names with their email addresses. These women are here for you. And here is the thing that I need you to understand. There are people waiting on the other side of your obedience, and your obedience is to make a difference in the world. They're here to help you get started to do that. Are you going to be a Mother Teresa? Maybe not. But there are people who need you, and these women are here waiting to help you. This is what they do, and they're doing it for free. They're not asking for a single thing out of you. In the description, their name and their email address, changeyourworld.com, so you can get training and facilitate your own tables. Don't wait until something happens and you have to do this out of regret. There's no room for regret. There's only hope. Anything else, ladies, that you want to say before we wrap this up? Because I have kept you for 90 minutes, and I could keep talking to you, but I found out my food is ready.
You said it all beautifully at the end. Thank you for having me. It was with the rest of the ladies. It's been a pleasure, really.
Definitely, Samantha. You just watching you blossom. And become, because we not only go places and change lives, our lives are changed as we interact with one another. And so thank you for daring to step out, for being encouragement to the rest of us, to say we can do it one day at a time. God bless you.
I wanted to say thank you for the opportunity. Like Ms. Denise said, you made it happen. You raised your hands and you brought all of us together for one purpose, which is change the world and help the world become a better place. So I wanted to say thank you. Thank you so much for the invitation. And it's always good to be home with my family, my JNT family. So thank you so much.
Samantha. Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. Appreciate the opportunity. Can't wait to see you again, my girl, and family, and see you on a transformation trip. And meanwhile, the transformation, yes, it is from within. It's changed your world, and then the world around you. You have the ability to change the world around you. So, thank you, ladies. Always a pleasure.
Definitely.
Same here.
Have a
Well,
wonderful time with family, y'all.
that is all I have for you guys this week. I will talk to you soon.